And for us, when we do stuff with Rock Hill, it's giving back because this community has blessed us so much, and we're proud to be part of it.
And welcome to another episode of the Bandit Room. My name is Charles. I'm joined here in the studio today by Mr. Caleb.
Hello.
And across the table from me, we have Mr. Aggie.
What's up?
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
And
you did say welcome to me, right?
Welcome.
I said thank you. I just want to make sure there was a welcome.
Yeah.
I'm thanking for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're welcome for that.
Thank you
for that welcome.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
And before we get in an endless loop of thanks and welcomes, our guest today is Mr. David Williams. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, and you're welcome, and everything else.
Welcome. Very special.
That's a good start here, man.
Yeah. The red carpet.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, you are the CEO of Williams and Fudge. Your name is in the name of the company, so you have a significant role there. Tell us a little bit about who you are. You grew up here in Rock Hill. You were just telling us a little story about how you used to come visit where this current office is as a child.
Yeah, I mean, within this mile radius of here, I probably lived all but maybe 7 or 8 years of my life. So 40 years or so of living in this mile radius, and so it's pretty interesting to. And y'all's space looks great. It's fantastic in here. But yeah, I grew up in Rock Hill, and matter of fact, my mom and dad moved here in 1975. My dad opened the Putt-Putt golf course, which was straight down Celanese when Celanese was a 2-lane road, where the Starbucks and the
the
car
break
places.
service.
So where the Starbucks is now, there used to be a Putt-Putt golf?
There used to be a Putt-Putt golf.
Well, this is fascinating already.
Yeah,
It should have stayed putt-putt.
It should have stayed.
Aggie would have preferred it.
I would have preferred it. I'm not a big fan of Starbucks, so I would have preferred it.
Well, and everything, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I mean, he had Putt-Putt and then opened the game room in 1980. So I'm pretty good at like Frogger and Pac-Man and some of those games because I was, he worked all the time up there. So I was running around sticking tokens in, playing a little Frogger, Pac-Man, whatever was available. So, but then, and unfortunately Putt-Putt closed. I mean, one of the things that happened with Putt-Putt is, entertainment kind of went in with some of the video games that when you had your own controllers and all of that. And now we need family entertainment more than ever. But yeah, he opened it then. So I was born a year later, and that's how I ended up in Rock Hill.
Huh. Fantastic.
Cool.
Young man Caleb, do you know the games he's talking about?
Frogger? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Frogger.
They're probably making quite a resurgence now.
Oh yeah, I mean there's like a whole subset of like bars where you can go and play retro games like that. Get a drink.
There's one downtown, right? Is it still there?
Yep.
I love those. It's got one joystick and either 1 or 2 buttons, not like 15 buttons like the ones that my kids play.
Right.
And A makes you run faster, B makes you jump, and they're like, well, you got C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've actually got a couple of classic games in my basement now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Fantastic. Now that is interesting because there used to be a putt-putt place here because I'm sure if someone were to open a putt-putt place in Rock Hill, it would probably do well now.
I think
the only one nearby is in Fort Mill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would. And it was interesting too because it was an actual putt-putt golf course, which if you may not remember, some of you may, but they would be on Sunday afternoon from 12 to 12:30. There was actually putt-putt that came on TV, and it was the green, the green felt, and then the orange rails. So putt-putt was always made for competitive putting, not necessarily clown's mouse and ramps and all of those kind of things. So so we had some pretty intense putt-putt tournaments up there. And but really, I mean, when you think about this location and think about growing up here, the changes that have happened since that time when Putt-Putt was open in 75 till now is pretty incredible. And I've been, blessed to be a part of a lot of it and look forward to being a part of a lot more of it. It's going to be fun.
So I got some inside news that one of our common friend is having a proper professional putt-putt at his new house. Is that true?
Probably. I think it's a simulator, but but yeah, and he probably is going to have a putting course too. And
right on.
I think I was talking to one of his brother-in-laws, and he said he went to show him the house, and he showed him all the basement stuff and outdoor stuff, and he's like, "What's all that up there?" And our common friend said, well, that's where the bedrooms and all that kitchen and stuff is, but that's not important, right? So, which makes complete sense, right?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So I recently joined a club up in Charlotte called In Town Golf. First one they opened in Atlanta. The second one is in Charlotte. It's like a private club, but it's more like the TrackMan hits greens,
right?
But a nice restaurant, nice lounge, nice bar, nice place to go in and play a round of golf and have some good food and not depending on hot dogs and burgers. Really good food and really good drinks. A pretty cool place. So I'm assuming our friend is kind of making a smaller version of that. So we feel the same when you go there. Don't have to pay that monthly fees and sign up fees and stuff. I'm hoping.
Right. Yeah, you talking about with the 19th coming up?
Yeah.
The simulators. So yeah, that's actually my son-in-law and his friend that are going to be open. It's called the 19th at the Warehouses, which is going to be downtown, right beside our office. Our company is now in the old cotton factory. We've been there for 15 years, and so there's a space there where they're going to be putting in. I think it's either 6 or 8 simulators and a bar, some bar food. Wow. And he's really excited about it. They both grew up in Rock Hill, and so it'll be a fun thing because it's. It really has taken.
Is that where the brewery is now? Is that where it's?
It's right next to where the brewery is now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So. It'll be called the 19th, and they should be opening here hopefully before Christmas.
Very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. People like having things to do while they go socialize. It's fun.
Yeah.
Even if you're not very good at golf, like me, it's fun.
Dude, come on! If you say you're not good at golf, I know our common friend is really good at golf.
Well, he plays all the time.
That's the key. That's the key right there.
Let's get back to business, Charles.
Yeah, back to business. So you've touched a little bit. I haven't gone through your full list of accolades. There's too many to really go through. You serve on a number of boards, the ACA International, South State Advisory Board, Rock Hill Sports Commission, Parks Foundation. You were a Rock Hill Business Person of the Year, on the board of York County Board of Disabilities. Like I said, it's too much to go on, but you do a lot in the community. And a lot of people have heard of Williams and Fudge, but maybe people don't know the details on what you actually do over there. So if you want to just give a little history as to what Williams and Fudge is, how it came about, and the kind of work that you guys do.
So Williams and Fudge opened in 1986, and the idea at the time was to have a company that works in collections for colleges and universities. So collects defaulted student loans for colleges and universities, and that's kind of how it started. And if you rewind to we talk about this every day, but you rewind to 1986, it was a different day and time in college education and in the U.S. in general. And so the business started then. It started growing. I mean, one of the things that we've always focused on is the sales and customer service portion of this because, I mean, you guys know, like any business that you're in, we're all in sales, we're all in customer service. It doesn't matter if you're talking about your employees, if you're talking about your clients, if you're talking about, your vendors, anybody that you work with. And so we've always really focused on that. And the company has grown. I started in 2000. So my dad started the company with his partner, Will Fudge. We give out fudge at Christmas time, and so his name carries on in that. They went their separate ways in '91. But growing up, one of my childhood memories, was my mom and dad making fudge every Sunday night. Because my dad, during the fall season, during Christmas, because my dad would take fudge to the clients, and we still give fudge to the clients to this day, but it's a whole big operation. I mean, it is down in Hilton Head. Actually,
you're not still making it in the house.
No. I don't know that my wife would sign up for that. It's a lot of fudge, but so anyway, so that's how it started. But then I started in 2000. We had around 100 clients at the time, so the company was really starting to grow. And then through 2010, we really took off. We started working with different states. We were kind of primarily in the Southeast, but then we grew out all the way into California. And so we're in all 50 states. We have clients in all 50 states now, higher education institutions, and we have about 1,500 of those. So basically what happens is we have billing, first party, and then we have third party work that we do, mostly third party, to where if a school is working on an account and they don't have it, it's not paid, they send it to us. We send letters, make phone calls. And back in the day, that's what we did, right? We sent letters and make phone calls. Now it is, sending text messages, trying to get in touch through different virtual platforms, taking payments. You know, it used to be, well, they mail in the checks and we scanned them all through. Well, now we don't get any checks hardly. I mean, it's ACH, it's credit cards, it's Venmo, it's Cash App, it's on and on and on. So, you know, we've really turned, we kind of call it fintech at this point because so much of it has become more and more technology driven. But that's kind of the history of what we do. And so we provide a service for colleges and universities to, you know, to help bring their receivables in, to help collect the money that they're owed. And, you know, we try our best. We do it the right way, you know, treat people the way you want to be treated, just like clients, just like vendors, just like relationship in the community. That's what we need to do with our consumers as well. Because, you know, at the end of the day, they've already bought something. They hadn't paid for it yet, so we need to get them to pay for it.
Gotcha.
So on that note, you focus purely on educational side of the business, or like other medical bills and any of the other stuff that you guys get into?
There's a huge medical bill presence within our industry, and we will talk about that a little bit later probably. But for us, we work with credit unions now. We work with some credit cards. We actually purchased a company earlier this year down in Richardson, Texas. It's called RGS Financial. A husband and wife own this company. I've known them for a long time, and they were ready to get out. Called me and said, hey, you know, they knew our culture fit. They knew, you know, how we operate. And so we worked out a deal, and we closed on that in July. So they do a lot of financial services type things. So, you know, credit cards, bank cards, big department store kind of things. So yeah, we're diversifying because at the end of the day, I mean, we have the technology, we have the call center, we have all of the things that we need to do to get in touch with people, right? And so, you know, we're able to diversify a little bit that way at this point.
Was a couple of years ago we were talking about there's some new regulation that came about that kind of put some restrictions on what you guys can do and cannot do. Has that changed your business, or has that helped your business?
Probably a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, I think that when the CFPB is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We'll try not to talk about this too long because it's not the most fun thing to talk about. But it was made for a good reason. 2008, the Dodd-Frank Act was passed, and it's really to help protect consumers against people that are out to harm them, right? And so what happens is with a lot of regulation, sometimes they go a little bit too far, but it's a good premise, right? So as we went through 2010 to 2015, we were working with some of the big banks at that time. So really they came in with a lot of regulation where we had to kind of say, all right, you know, we got to make sure our data security is buttoned up. We got to make sure all of these things are buttoned up to make sure that we're protecting. I mean, we have data that is very valuable. So, I mean, you talk about PCI, you talk about I mean, the biggest risk to any of our companies is a data breach, right? It is the ransomware and is all of that. So, you know, we kind of got ahead of that, and we're able to learn how to do things the way that we needed to do it as the country and our economy changed so quickly. So that was the CFPB is still they're alive and kicking, and they do a lot of auditing, and they're big. They're looking at the credit reporting right now across the board, looking into just different financial practices to make sure that, you know, people are doing things the right way. And at the end of the day, you know, the thing that I'm proud of when it comes to the economy is we're definitely a very important part of the credit ecosystem, and this country, you know, is based on that.
Correct.
So that's the, you know, without any type of back end ramifications, then we end up with a credit system that's not going to work.
Yeah, nowhere in the world you can go sign a piece of paper and walk out with a $100,000 car.
Right. Exactly. So
now with that lobbying passed, and then the technology coming into play, a lot of security coming into play, has that helped company your size gather more market share, pushing out the small players?
Yeah, and that's something that we talk about a lot right now within our association, because it's the mom and pop shops aren't able to survive.
Right.
And so for us, as we've built this infrastructure, that's why that's one of the reasons this acquisition happened, and one of the reasons we're going to be looking for more is because, you know, people can't, and it's unfortunate in a lot of ways because there's a lot of people that, you know, they may be, let's use York as an example. So there's an agency in York that helps the plumber, you know, collect their money, that helps the person that works on small small appliances collect their money, the doctor's office, the dentist office, those kind of things. And it's really hard for anybody like that to survive anymore. And it's unfortunate, but it is what happens. I mean,
It's
regulation.
business, I mean, you got to evolve in business and, to move forward.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's right. And we talk about that all the time. You're sitting still, you're going to get left behind.
Right.
And these days, way quicker than...
I mean, that's true even for our own business. What happened during COVID and what happened after COVID, because the way we set the foundation for our business with technology, investment, not having too much debt, helped us propel into the after COVID period. And a lot of our competitors, we thought were competitors, completely just disappeared or just fell off, the whole market, which has been good for us. I'm not complaining. But that's part of any business. I don't think we need to feel bad about it, David.
Yeah, so you're seeing the same thing as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah, big time.
Well, and when you talk to people and you and people ask for advice or different things, and it's like, look, you got to be willing to change, and you have to be really like, you can sit around and complain about it all day long. Yeah. and I see people every day in that. Like we're never going to be able to survive. Yeah. Well, people have been changing for a long time. Yeah. So let's see what we need to do.
We got to figure it out, yeah.
So how many employees do you have now, Williams?
We're right around 350 right now. Okay. Probably 375 with Williams and Fudge and RGS combined.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and we had about 450 employees before COVID. Mm-hmm. And COVID, what we found is, I think Aggie was alluding to this a little bit, not only did it change things, but it accelerated.
Yep.
While every day was really slow, it accelerated changes really, really quickly.
Yep. For sure.
For us, we went to bed in March of 2019 with 450 people in our office in downtown Rock Hill. And we woke up in 2022 with about 350 people, 200-ish of those in Rock Hill, other people all over the country, and then in other parts of the world as well.
Did you realize that you didn't need 450 people?
I think that was part of it. Part of it was because our business has also evolved. We used to have a program called the Perkins Loans, which was really a way to bridge the gap for lower income people, and we worked on consolidating those loans. That program sunset, so we had to change the way that we operate as well.
Gotcha.
And I mean, labor markets.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all know as well as anybody. Yeah. Like, when we're able to work with companies in other parts of the world, provide a good living for them there, and still pay less than we're paying people here, you got to look at those opportunities.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, for us in the last, I would say last 3 years, our team size overall between all our 5 offices, it's almost doubled. Now we're running payroll for over 400 employees, spread among 5 different offices. But someone said, how can you double in 3 years? We have an opportunity in the market for us to do that and support it, and then continue taking out competitors and grow at the same time. If you want to grow your business, you got to be ready to take those challenges if you want to double in size, which we've done. And the business this year, the growth this year, completely proves that was the right call to make, that to support the business we have today. And for us, our business, every year, going from 40 to 50%, 60% growth year to year, you got to think far ahead. See, if we want to be at 60% growth, how do you support that?
Right.
And then to having additional offices, whether in the U.S. or outside, or having employees here or outside, you got to be ready to accept that, acknowledge it, figure it out, and then make it happen. Otherwise, someone else will do what are you thinking about doing?
That's right. And you see, I mean, in such a big part for us of when we talk about all the community stuff that you talked about earlier, it is the community, right? And one of the things that we loved and we still love is being able to afford people in the community opportunities to come to work with us, change their lives for the better, do good, support their kids and all of that. And we're still able to do some of that, but we also have to look beyond that in order to change and evolve as a company. And also, I think another thing, Aggie, when you talk about like when you're moving forward and when you're changing, it's like, you also have to be willing to make tough decisions that might not always be the most popular, because when you started your business, you had people doing completely different things than what you need people to do now.
That's for sure, yeah.
And those aren't always the same people.
But with all the stuff going on, Dave, how do you find time to be doing all that additional social stuff, community stuff? How do you get the time for it?
Some of that stuff, I try to do the best I can.
Right.
And some of it I think just prioritizing and understanding when and where your time commitments and constraints need to be, you know, and always for me prioritizing, you know, the business, prioritizing my family, making sure you're not missing out on the things you don't need to miss out on.
Right.
But there's seasons that you quickly understand like come in your life where, you know, there's more time to dive in on things in Rock Hill, to be involved in Come See Me, to be involved in, you know, the chamber and to be involved in different things. But then there's also times right now for me where with my role within the association, I'm traveling all the time. Some of those things I can't do as much anymore because I
here's an idea for you.
Okay.
Man. You can make more time. You need to get a private jet.
you know, well, I mean, maybe I could have a friend with one that also has his pilot's license. You know, I mean, I'll pay for the gas.
Right.
Aggie's got all the time in the world to be a private pilot for you. So
Yeah, and a guy with a lot of time.
Right.
That's what we need.
Right.
I love that idea.
Yeah, man.
I love that idea.
We should.
It's all red-eye flights, though. It's only like
Make sure the weather's right. You know,
That's what I was just doing. I was in Buford for 10 days doing my instrument training, and I just finished it. I got to do my check ride. I'll probably schedule it next week. Once that is done, and obviously I pass, then I can pretty much fly anytime, any weather.
well, you've been flying without knowing how the instruments work.
Oh, I do use I use the instruments fantastic. I'm very good at figuring those things out.
Right.
so it's a separate license. It's like a separate certification. You have
Certification.
your pilot's license already, but
Right,
you're
and
looking
my
for
airplane
an
is
additional-
instrument certified, IFR certified. It has all the instruments. I can use all of them. I use all of them. But to have the license when the weather is below minimums, technically I'm not allowed to take off. But once I get this certification, then I can. Then you're not depend so much on perfect weather to fly.
Gotcha.
Like Friday, I'm planning to go to Atlanta, but now looked at the weather. Looks like it's going to rain. It's going to be overcast. It's like, I don't want to get stuck somewhere. But with that certification, then I should be. We'll talk about that after.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay,
Side
good.
conversation.
Side
Good.
conversation.
Well, I mean, being able to fly to Atlanta and not have to deal with 85 is worth it all in its own right.
Get there in an hour and 10 minutes
Yeah.
Pretty good.
from Rock Hill Airport.
You could go fly down, go to a game,
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
Good to go.
I flew to Buford yesterday. I stopped. I had to drop off someone to pick up my truck and drive it back, and I came back. All of that was done in 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's
I can't wait to go. I'm ready. Let's do it. Sign me
Very
up.
good.
Sign me up.
Awesome. So let's talk about your building. You talked about the fact that you're in the cotton factory downtown Rock Hill. You've been there for, you said 15 years?
15 years.
Yeah?
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys really deserve a lot of credit because you were like the first big business to come to downtown Rock Hill. And what was the situation with the cotton factory? Did somebody own it? Did you buy it?
The city owned it at the time, and it was probably like it was close to not being able to be salvageable. There was
Right.
water damage, and there was a lot of stuff going on in there. And
For people that don't know, Rock Hill downtown was not what it is now. I mean,
no.
was there any real business presence downtown at
No,
that
when
point
we-
other than the Herald?
Yeah, and they were already only had a few people there then.
Yeah.
And, there was when we moved in, there was Kinch's was there.
Yeah.
Meat and Three.
Yeah.
Fantastic place. And McKell's was there.
Yeah.
And I've been on this Old Town Association board for a long, long time, and I used to always say like, all we ever had was antique shops. Yeah. It was like, hey, we got a new business coming. It's like, what is it? Well, it's like, oh, Aggie's Antiques. You know? And then another new one, David's Antiques.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I mean, it was a big deal, and it really and do credit our mayor, Mayor Eccles, my dad. They went down there and talked about it. They had gone up to Durham, North Carolina, to look at what they had done with some of those old factories up there and old mills. And, with the textile background we had here, it just made sense. And,
Right.
and then there were so many people involved in making it happen. The city was fantastic, because we could have easily, done something, build a warehouse out somewhere because it doesn't matter where we're located really
Right.
for our jobs. And so we did that. And I think it did help. And I mean, credit to the people who had the foresight to do that. And
Right.
Aggie, I mean, when did you move downtown?
So
13, I think.
2013, we moved to the downtown about Amelie's and then moved across the street 3 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, we redid that building,
Yeah.
but on a smaller scale than what you guys did. I mean,
Right.
what you guys did is fantastic, and
Yeah.
that far ahead to think and make all this stuff happen. That's pretty impressive. Was it more Gary's, your dad's idea, or were you involved in that?
No, that was completely him.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And whenever matter of fact, when we went down there to look at it, I thought he was crazy as hell. And but I was able to be involved in the process, and I learned a lot through that process with, meeting every day. You know how it goes, meeting every day with the contractors and the designers and all of the different people that brought that to life, because the history part was really important to us. I mean, there's so many people back in the day in Rock Hill, and back in the day is not like forever ago. It's like maybe like the 60s, 70s, where everybody that worked here worked in one of those mills. Right. And you hear those stories all the time. Yep. And it's just amazing, the transformation. And I'm proud to have been a part of it. And a lot of people should be. Aggie, y'all, it's really cool what's happened down there.
Yeah, pretty cool. So now, do you guys are expanding more within the cart? Is there any more space to expand, or that's it? You guys are maxed out.
No, actually, we're not using as much space now because of the people working remotely and working everywhere else. So we're kind of looking at that right now. Springs Creative is in there with us, and they're going to be moving back into the Thread, which is the other part. So the building's going to transform here over the next couple of years, and I think we can do something cool with it. I mean, that's one of the fun things, is seeing the businesses pop up. Knowledge Perk coming up with the coffee and the different things that have really.
Did they open a second location?
I think they got 5 locations.
Wow. I still remember going to that place when it just opened.
Yeah. It was like as big as this room.
Wow.
The first one.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Because we were in downtown then.
Yeah.
And I remember walking down there. Who was it? Talking to Brendan or someone. We were walked down there. Wow. That's pretty cool, man. That's good to see. Yeah.
It's
very nice. So are you getting into the brewery business? Or coffee business, distillery business.
Let me see how I should answer this. Right.
Well, we've got a brewery right next door.
The reason I gotta say that the reason I'm joking about that is because David and I, in some shape or form, we are invested in multiple different smaller businesses here and there.
Yes.
May not even remember all of them.
I get, Bernie's office gets mad every year. They're like, what is this K1? I forgot.
I just went
I don't know.
Well, but for me, like, that's been one of my favorite things to do. And sometimes, like, investments can also be viewed not as, they are investments, but they're investments in people, they're investments in the community, and you got to know where your returns are. Now, you want to make sure you've got investments that are returning. I found that real estate's a good investment for returns, but seeing people and helping people, it's almost a donation at times, where it's like, hey, let me see what I can do to help this person to get off the ground, to get going, and some of them don't work out, and I don't want to say I know some of them aren't going to work out, but I'm very skeptical at times. But sometimes
most of them are not going to work out.
Right? Yeah, right.
You can know that in your head, but
we know that. But a couple of the stuff, if it works out, they'll cover for most of it. So we are okay with that. Sure. But most of the investments that we kind of go into, knowing very well, 100%, that very well, you could lose all of it.
That's right.
But you know that going into it, there's no guaranteed return. If someone comes to you and pitches something and says guaranteed return, I'm like, okay, dude, we are done talking here. Thank you. Get out of here.
That's called a scam.
Yeah, exactly. And you learn. I mean, I think one of the things that Aggie and I have done together before is some angel investing stuff, even outside of Rock Hill. Right. And one of the things I've learned, I think, is you're betting on the jockey as much as you are the horse. Yeah. Right. Yep. If you see somebody that is going to bust their tail, and they're going to work hard, and they're going to work in their business, and they're going to understand the time commitment it takes. Yep. Like, they got a chance. Yeah. You see somebody that's like, hey,
and the sacrifice they have to, willing to be taking to stay away from family or the fun time or the rituals to kind of make the business happen, because a lot of investors' money is involved, plus their employees who quit other jobs to join you. All of that, must be a focus for them. Right. And when they come and pitch, we can see who's in it for fun, to see what happens, and who's in it for hardcore. I want to make this happen.
Right. Absolutely. I love and one of the things I've talked about a lot lately, I mean, I love seeing, I still feel like I'm young, and I know y'all are sitting here going, well, you're not, and I know I'm not, but I still feel that way, don't you?
Yeah, man. I don't, listen, when people tell me old, I said, okay, if that makes you happy, I'm happy for you. But I never feel old. Right. Unless if we go out for a drink with David or the common friend we are talking about, next day morning I feel old. Yeah. But other than that, I never feel old.
But that happened when I was 25 also. And 15.
But not on Sundays, though.
No.
That's what happened when I moved here, man. I went to Harris Teeter Sunday football getting started, and I was like, Jake Delhomme was our quarterback, and I go to this Harris Teeter right here, and we got 6-pack beer waiting in line, and the lady behind me tells you, she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Waiting to check out." She's like, "You're not allowed to buy beer on Sunday." I said, "Says who?" She goes, "The law." I thought she was checking. I thought she was making fun.
So she's making a joke with you.
So did you drive to Frugal McDougal's?
No, I did not. I don't know. I was new here, so I just went back home. I dropped it off and went back home.
Sunday beer runs in college used to consist of I went to Presbyterian College, and we had, drive to Tryon, North Carolina, which was not just like driving to Charlotte, it's a little bit further. Because you'd always try to plan ahead, but sometimes Saturday night would get a little long and you wouldn't have anything left, So you got to get ready for football Sundays.
Oh, man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you still have the season tickets for the Panthers?
I do, but I haven't been to a game in a few years.
We also renewed again for this year, and I haven't been to a game this season. That's supposed to be the Panthers training facility.
Yeah, I saw a video of the soccer one the other day, and I think it's real.
Huh. Wow.
I mean, it looks like a real building up in Charlotte. I think it's real. But yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened with that. And I don't know the story. We've been talking about who knows the story, who doesn't know the story. I don't know the story. I am personally grateful that the Teppers and the NFL got involved and helped us with Miracle Park at the time because they gave a donation and were great about that. I
did ask our mayor, did the check clear? And he said yes.
Yeah. Good. And we sat around one night and tried to figure out like how much money $17 billion is. Like if you relate it to, a normal person. And I couldn't do the math.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, how much is $1,000 to him?
Right.
And it's like, I just couldn't do the math.
Right.
It's just a whole different world, right?
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, that was unfortunate for sure. But the thing about Rock Hill is we're resilient, and I think that I don't know what's going to end up out there, but we're going to be better for it. We got a lot of good people that work hard, and I mean that's the cool thing about what's made you stay in Rock Hill.
I mean, it's when I moved here, I started my photography business, and everyone that I went and met to promote my business, they didn't know who the hell Aggie was or what I do or any of my work.
Right.
And immediately jumped up and wanted to talk about it, wanted to promote and support, and that's how I ended up, becoming friends with Warren. And when we started Span, they didn't know anything about it. I was telling them what the idea was, and they had no idea, no clue what the hell I was talking about, tax e-filing. But they knew me from doing my photography days, and they've heard about it, and they just jumped in. They gave our first office for like $200 a month. The second office, they did the entire outfit for me and didn't charge me anything and gave me like a 2-year 50% discount on that. And they didn't ask for anything in return. Never ever asked for anything in return. But where else can you find stuff like that? It's impossible without knowing who you are, not having any connections. And also where I lived, my neighbors and other people who were helping with everything. It just makes you comfortable living there and wanting to build something that you're dreaming about. Even our local bank, now it's South State.
Yeah. South Carolina Bank and Trust.
No, it was. But
Park Sterling.
No, before Park Sterling.
Before.
Citizen South.
Oh yeah,
Citizen South. Kyle, yeah. When I came to a point, I said we had no more money left for running payroll. I mean, we maxed out everything, sold everything. I went to Kyle. I said, Kyle, I have to run payroll on Friday. I have no more money left. No more credit cards left. I need a $50,000 loan, and there's nothing I can give you to secure the loan. He said, okay, let me make a couple of phone calls. I knew Kyle for like a year and a half by then. That's it. And whatever he did, I have no idea. But, he said, okay, come in. We'll put the deposit of the money in your back. I mean, you can't have that. Nobody in Charlotte is going to do that for you.
That's cool. That's cool.
So those are the things, that's the reassurance. Now we got to a point, we're doing really, really well, and we want to do something bigger. We don't know what is the next thing that we want to do locally. We have big pictures, big plans for nationally, internationally with our products. We are very big in AI. The whole reporting thing that we want for our businesses with using AI. It's a big project for us, big focus for us. But locally, I have no idea what is next for us.
Well, we're similar in that because your customers are global, right? And ours are too.
Right.
And our consumers are, and our clients. And so, like, when we look at Rock Hill, that's one of the reasons when you ask that question that I'm involved in all of that because we're not bankers, we're not we do real estate, but we're not in real estate every day. So many of my friends we're not insurance agents, and all of those people, like, their businesses are in Rock Hill.
Yeah.
So it's easy to figure out, like, this is why we do this. This is why we do this. And for us, when we do stuff with Rock Hill, it's given back because this community has blessed us so much, and we're proud to be part of it. But it's not like, we have 3 clients in town,
Right.
Clinton, York Tech, and Winthrop, and those are the only ones that we can get because those are the schools.
I was going to ask you about that because that is, you're a major sponsor on so many giant events around town, whether it's Christmasville, Come See Me, Winthrop Sports. You could probably give me a list of 1,000 more that you're on, but you don't get any real benefit from it. You're doing that as a giving, a charity measure or something like that. But,
yeah, that's true. We want to make it a better place for our employees, for our families, for their kids, for our kids, and that's legit. Like, it sounds kind of cliche, I understand, but that's why we do it. And it works. And I think as we move through these next few years, like, taking this town to significance, like, there's a group of us and people even younger than us that we got to take the baton and roll with it, and figuring out, like, how companies like ours can be involved in, whether it's housing or whether it's sustainability or whether it's new businesses coming to town. How can we tell our stories to say, hey, come to Rock Hill? And I think we have I think Charlotte's doing okay, but I think we have an opportunity right now based on what we're seeing around the country with things moving back out of, Central City kind of thing.
Every time we go to a lot of conventions, trade shows, and we have booth and stuff. And when we put our name there, we put, whatever the product we are promoting that day, we put Rock Hill as a location. We don't put Charlotte.
Right.
Most of the people, they try to put a bigger city close to where they live. Like, no.
Right.
Well, I want people to come and ask me, what is that? What is Rock Hill?
Right.
We can talk about it.
And that transition for me as I've traveled over the years, it used to be, well, I'm from south of Charlotte, right? Now I'm from Rock Hill.
Right.
And, people, oh, I saw that on the cornhole, or I saw that on TV. Or the pillow fight, or the slippery stairs.
I was in Ohio, and it was we were in one of the bars, and they had the cornhole tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And when the guy goes, "Did you say from Rock Hill? They're playing that in Rock Hill." In my head, I didn't know that was a thing in Rock Hill. I'm like, oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah.
I have a few friends that like to gamble on sporting events from time to time. Back in the summer of 2020, cornhole was the first sport that came, sport activity that came back, and DraftKings picked it up. So they're like, man, this is great. We're gambling on cornhole. And I went, and it's in Rock Hill. And I was like, congratulations. One of them had to move from gambling. He was gambling on virtual camels during COVID, which is, but it's an interesting thing. But yeah, he was like, we got live cornhole, live sports. Let's go. It's like a commercial for DraftKings.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Recently, I was getting a new jet ski, and then the gentleman who owns that place, he started talking to a client who came to buy jet skis and apparently used to be a jockey from bull racing. And he started this business. Didn't want to go into all the details. But anyway, so he owns a bull racing team now. And he was telling me, I was like, oh, that's a good idea.
Is that a sport, bull racing?
Yeah, like, TBR. Professional bull racing, dude. So he owns a team, and they have the whole thing drafts going on for the bulls. And I was like, this is pretty cool. We may have to put a team together.
I like it. One of the things I'm getting to do right now, which I'm really enjoying. I'm actually leaving in the morning for Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm on American right now, but I can move. I'm president of ACA International, which is our international trade association. So I'm getting to travel all over the country and world and meet all kind of different people. And that's a great example of, like, the passion people have for all kind of different things. Yeah. You know, I mean, you get into these little, you talk to somebody that's like, hey, I'm into this, or I'm into, I mean, a good example is Quidditch. Isn't that the game for Harry Potter?
Oh. Yeah. These guys are big into that.
Yeah. Y'all play Quidditch?
No. This is Aggie just calling us nerds.
Okay. Well, I mean, I saw these people, they were out at the Manchester. And they were playing Quidditch. They were running around with a broomstick between their legs. And the broom wasn't flying like on Harry Potter. They were just running with it between their legs. I said, this seems like a really, really bad idea.
I was going to say, there have been so many conversations between Aggie and people just trying to figure out what the hell they're doing. People trying to explain Quidditch to Aggie. Well, it's like a sport, but it's like, you're not like actually flying around.
Everyone would try to explain that to me. Or were into it, I can never see them running anywhere.
You understand football better than Quidditch now.
I do, yes.
Oh, good. Baseball.
You still got to learn baseball.
I do have to learn baseball. Because I watch one game a year. Finals.
You watch whatever the most important game is.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one to watch. Yeah. You know, that's a good one to watch. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's really interesting, and as we, as this transition happens, and we look at the past 20 years. I mean, even back to what was the stat that I heard of people that were born the same year? Anyway, they were all born, in one year, and you see the difference that happened, the changes that happened in like the past 70 years since 1950-ish, and they're talking about these next 5 to 10 years, more change happening than happened in that amount of time. And it's just amazing. And so let's figure out how to be part of it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we keep talking about this. What is it that we can do next big thing locally? Just being part of, going and giving someone a check for, put this show together. That's okay. We do that all the time. But what is the next big thing that we can do locally? Not necessarily a for-profit thing.
Right.
It could be a non-profit, but could become something. We don't know. We keep talking about it. I know Charles is involved in the arts and what is it?
I was involved in the community theater.
Right. So I know Jason, our CPA guy, he's big into that, the new building that they are opening.
Performing Arts
Center. So this is where, in my mind, like, what is the next big thing that, as a company, as myself, can get involved locally? I don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to work with you on it because I mean, there's one of the things with Miracle Park when we built that, as we build that, like. The community got behind that, and that's what you talked about. The special people that would give you a $50,000 loan, when you had nothing to give. Right. The people that bring you in, that talk to you, and really support you, and the people that whether $20 is a lot for somebody to give, or $200,000 is a lot for somebody to give. All of those added up with Miracle Park, and we're doing something for everybody, right? It's not just for these people or just for these people, just for these people. It's for everybody. No matter what's your ability, what's your race, what's your nationality, what's your anything. Everybody can go play. Doesn't matter.
That's a great placement. I've been there a couple of times to visit for meetings and stuff. It's a fantastic thing.
It really is. You should come on Saturday morning sometime. Check out the league. It's awesome. Wow. It's awesome.
Very cool.
So much fun.
Hey, small businesses. Do you have a robust, integrated solution to efficiently and securely file your Form 1099, W-2, W-9, 1095, 94X forms, and more? Don't worry about creating a solution. Let Tax Bandits handle it for you. Tax Bandits goes beyond just tax form generation and e-filing. We also offer robust validation features to ensure accuracy and security throughout the process, with address validation and TIN matching. Tax Bandits is even SOC 2 certified. With Tax Bandits, tax calculations are automated, filling out your forms accurately and submitting them to the IRS, SSA, and states seamlessly, all within your account. Plus, we allow you to give your clients convenient access to recipient copies via postal mail or online access. Visit taxbandits.com today and join the ranks of successful business owners who are using Tax Bandits to e-file their tax forms.
All right, and we're back. Today we've got the Balvenie Double Wood.
Cheers.
12-year Scotch. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Go pitch them, Charles.
Yeah, so it's a single malt, Balvenie, double wood, 12-year Scotch.
If you need to get in touch with us, you know how to do it.
Yep.
I heard a little bit of this when I was listening to some of your other podcasts. How many sponsors do you have so far?
Oh, yeah, we're just waiting on Williams and Fudge, No, they'll sponsor everything else in the city. So
yeah, well, understandable, but y'all are going bigger than that. Yeah. You got to get bigger.
So let's talk about that too.
Yeah. Just wanted to bring this out here. We've got some of the Reaper's nuts from our friend Ed Curry. I wanted to mention him since he just made a little news.
Apparently he had the world's new hottest pepper.
That's right. Yeah, Guinness just certified it. Pepper X.
Pepper X.
Yeah.
I saw that on Apple News. I didn't realize that was.
He came here. Guy. He did one of the show, and he talked about it that he was getting ready. He didn't announce it at a show, did he? No, he was talking.
He talked about it, and he said that.
But we tasted. We tasted.
We did.
Oh, dude, that thing is. Whoo!
That
one's real.
I think I'm gonna leave that there. Those Reaper's nuts are good, though.
Oh yeah. And he brought us chocolate, and then he tells us
we've got the chocolate here too. If you're up for a little challenge,
we don't have ice cream though.
Yeah,
chocolate, but you cannot eat the chocolate by itself. You have to have ice cream.
He's like, if
put
you
some
eat more
shavings of that on the ice cream and then eat it. If you eat that piece of chocolate, he said you might end up in the hospital.
I don't want that. Okay. I feel like I should have brought something. I'll bring y'all some fudge. When we get some fudge in, I'll bring y'all some fudge. Cool. Y'all don't even have to have me on again.
We'll plug it on the next show.
You can have somebody fun to talk about something other than like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and I'll still bring you fudge.
So you said something about Hilton Head. What's in Hilton Head?
That's who makes our fudge now.
Okay. Because the reason I was asking because I just spent 10 days in Beaufort. It's right there.
Did you like it down there?
It's all right.
I saw there's
a bit slow, dude. Everything closed at 7 o'clock. I finished flying at 6 and I go to my hotel and I'm like, okay, let me go get something to eat.
Yeah.
Every restaurant I look up, it's closed other than the chain restaurants. What's up with that?
I think it's a beach thing. I think people drink too much on the beach during the day and they get hot. But no, I mean, it's interesting. I got to spend some time in southern France a couple weeks ago. And the differences in different parts of the world on how some of that stuff works. Like, so we were going to make a reservation for dinner at 6:30, and they're like, "Well, they're completely out of reservations for dinner at 6:30." Well, no, that wasn't the case. They don't even open till 7.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
and I finished eating my dinner, and we finished our wine, and I was shaking. I was like, "Where's my check? Where's my check?" They don't come and say, "Here's your check." You have to be like, "Hey, can I get a check?" And if you do that here, people are like, why are you waving me down? So it's just
a whole different mindset.
It really is.
5 o'clock is evening snacks over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
I was just in India for 3 weeks. That's dinner is in my parents' house. Dinner is not until 10:30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you in France?
Went to. I first pronounced it Canes, and then I figured out it wasn't Canes. It's actually Cons. Yeah. And so we were over there for a meeting. It's a group that gets together. Nice. We get together every year, one international, and then U.S., and then back international. So and it's people that kind of are in the similar businesses all over the world, and we share ideas for a few hours, and then do something fun for the rest of the day.
Oh man, great place.
Good. Yeah.
I haven't been to Con. You've been to Con?
I've been, yeah.
St. Tropez. I mean, it was incredible. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful scenery. They eat not like Americans. They eat healthy food and they walk everywhere. So recipe for success, at least from a health perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because look at me, I'm a
picture of
student of health. Yeah, picture of health. Thank you. That's why I'm glad we're not on TV.
Actually, you are on.
Oh, we're on TV?
But I think it's focusing on me.
We do some recordings, but it's just Aggie.
I believe that, as it should be.
Gary did ask me, are you going to be on TV today? I said, no. She goes, you better shave if you're going to be on TV.
No.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I do want to bring it back to the business a little bit. And talk a little bit about how you ultimately help your end user. Because a person's relationship with essentially a debt collector can sound not great,
Oh, yeah.
But you're ultimately here to help somebody out of a situation.
Yeah, I think that's the... And yeah, you're exactly right. And I get that, and you come to terms with that. I mean, people don't want to hear from a debt collector. But at the end of the day, resolving... the people get into, and I say this all the time, we have issues as a country with different in different areas. And I think one of those is higher ed, and I think one of those is our healthcare system. And like I told you before, a lot of my friends in the association do healthcare work.
Oh, those are two areas that are heavily indebted. Yeah.
Right. And so the problem is people get into situations on the front end where either like they don't understand or they don't care or whatever the situation is, and then they end up with a lot of debt. And from a college and university perspective, I think we are seeing some progress in people taking out an appropriate amount of debt for whatever job that they need, and a little bit of a renaissance of trades and some of that. So, we need to train people on the front end to not go to an Ivy League school to get a job Ivy League's not a good example because none of them pay for school anyways. That's a whole nother story. Whole nother story. And all the professors are in Congress, but whole nother story. But let's use Furman as an example. Like you go to Furman, it's an expensive school, prestigious school. You need to get a job coming out of there that makes sense for you based on the loans that you've taken out. So that's a problem on the front end. On the back end, if that's already happened, being able to work to consolidate the debt or get it into repayment or something like that to help start building credit. Because like you said, I mean, that's the USA. I mean, and that's different in different parts of the world. But
in India, even today, you can get only I believe 30% of mortgage. The rest 70% you got to bring to the table.
Right.
Show to the bank that I already have this, so they'll give you 30%.
Right.
At like 11% interest.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's great.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, and maybe it's not crazy. Maybe it is crazy, but it's worked for us. And we've kind of been built on that. So when we're on the phone and we're working with people, that's the idea, is to help. And, it's payment arrangements, like I said, consolidations. There's options out there sometimes like forbearance or deferment or whatever. Or, there are good programs in place. People ask a lot about student loan cancellation. There are good programs in place already to where if you go get a teaching degree and you teach at a Title I school for 5 years, it gets forgiven. Same thing for some public service, same things for some of that. But in my opinion, that's completely different than someone with a graduate degree that's a lawyer. They have the ability to pay their debt back. Right. So and in healthcare, that's a whole nother deal. Like the costs associated with healthcare in this country are out of control. There's no doubt about it. But sometimes people don't want to touch some of the larger systems or pharmaceuticals or insurance. That's kind of a forbidden. So here, let's figure out what we can do on the back end to help instead of fixing the problem on the front end. And
so that's entirely what the student loan forgiveness is fixing it on the front end, or I don't know how you want to describe it, but fixing a symptom of the problem without fixing the problem itself, which is people are taking on far too much debt than they can reasonably pay back.
100%. And for us, it's the business that we're in and it's what we do, and it serves a good purpose. That doesn't mean that I don't think we need to fix the front end of the problem. Like there's going to be, we built a business that's sustainable with different products, with different first party work, with different, fundraising, whatever it is that we want to do to contact people. So like, let's figure out on the front end, because I've got a college age student right now, and understanding that part of it and understanding the problems that come from that is something we need to look at. But again, there's a lot of politics and a lot of other things involved in that.
So I know you are very ahead of the game when it comes to technology for your business, and in any business or any industry, there's a technology or a software helps one side of the business, and then there's a competing technology. Now, I know you talked about in your business now you are able to collect money via ACH and Venmo and all other stuff. Are there apps or technology out there that tries to defeat what you guys are trying to achieve?
I think that's coming.
Okay.
I right now we still precipitate the use of those. And some of the things are, you sign up for. There's so much data out there right now that people can utilize to contact people at the right time when they might be in a position to pay, and all of that can be done through technology. Now, companies like ours are using that right now, but I do see like those technologies becoming competitors more than just complements to what we do. It's a matter of, we talked about it a little bit earlier, how can the creditors but can the creditors afford to do that themselves, or does it still make more sense to work with us? I mean, the numbers of the changes for us with self-service now,
Right.
I mean, we talked about it this morning a little bit. With RGS, our new company is like 40%. So 40% of the consumers are choosing self-service, to where they're going online themselves. They get a text or a letter. They go online. They take care of it. They have options there on payment plans, on settlement amounts, on, we all want to control our spending, right? And control how we do it, how we communicate, all of that.
Right.
And so that's what people are choosing. But we still have products and services, and we can offer it to all of our clients, as opposed to our individual clients having to go out and try to figure it out themselves.
So one of the things we are doing with our one of the software that we have for the transportation industry called Trucklogics, it's a TMS, trucking management system, fleets use to manage the loads and drivers and trucks and routing and all that stuff. So this AI intelligence that we are bringing in, the goal is by the middle of next year, by the second quarter of next year, our fleets, when I say our fleets, the fleets that are using Trucklogics, and a load comes in, our program will intelligently tell them should you accept that load or not, based on the history of who the carriers are, who the drivers are, the routing and all the stuff. And then that's what we are bringing into the whole logistic market, because the massive fleets, they may have some kind of in-house intelligence program, but majority of the fleets don't have it. So that's what we are bringing in, and that's a big deal for us. So now going into your business, is there a technology like that already exist, or do you guys are building it, or what's the story there?
A little bit of both. We're
Okay.
trying to build it, but there are technologies that already exist. So, we can't. One of the things, like, we can't get people to pay if they don't have money.
Right.
Right. So we don't want to spend time working accounts where, if we get in touch with someone, they can't pay. If you can't pay, you can't pay.
Right.
So our goal is to find people that can pay that aren't paying,
Right.
or that need to be paying, or whatever the case is. So you're almost looking at it, if you look at it from a sports analogy, like, how likely is a pass to be completed if this quarterback throws to this receiver who's running this fast, all of those different. So yes, there's products out there, but we want to do the machine learning to where it's specific to us,
Right.
not to the industry as a whole. Because, I mean, for let's say medical or whatever else, that's a whole different ball game,
Right.
because that their liquidity is a lot less, because if people end up in the hospital, with higher education, everyone knows when they go to school, they have to pay to go to school or scholarship or whatever.
Correct.
But if I walk out of here and trip and fall and go to the hospital, I'm not going to choose that, right? So
Right.
that's a whole different deal. So we want to make sure that when we're looking at the machine learning, it's specific to what we do.
Right.
And
Yep.
so, we're trying to build it ourselves. And,
So what's next for David, man? I know the business is doing good and you're doing good. And what's next for you personally?
I don't know. I'm going to figure that out, though.
So
I'm going to fly with you. I'm gonna.
Go on a vision quest.
It's an interesting time, because a lot of us,
Right.
around my age, have
You're not
kids.
50 yet, right?
No,
You
I'm
turn 50 next
47.
year?
47.
47, okay.
Yeah,
That's
but
good.
I had kids younger, so like my youngest son is almost 16. So we're heading into like empty nest, the company in a good place. So I think it's about what you talked about. I'm not one that's going to be happy playing golf every day, especially because, like, when I play golf, it takes me 90 to 100 shots instead of 60 to 70 to 80, and that's more tiring.
I'm in the same boat,
That's
dude.
more tiring.
Listen, I'm in the same boat.
But I'm not gonna. I know that I want to do something that's significant, that makes a difference in our community, that can make a difference in our country and our world, and I know I don't want to do the same thing for the rest of my life. And I know I don't want to just retire and play golf all the time, and nothing against that. I think that's great, but I want to be able to continue to make a difference. Like, we've worked so hard for so many years,
Right.
to get at this point, and I want to continue making a difference for people and like I said, for the community. So I don't know the answer to that. I mean, we got a place at the beach that we're working on right now, kind of updating a little bit. So I love being down there and, spending time on the beach, spending time at the house, doing.
When you say beach, where is beach for you?
Ocean Isle, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that close to? Myrtle Beach?
Is that just north of the border?
Yeah, just north. So it goes Calabash, Sunset, Ocean Isle. Gotcha. So it's about halfway between Wilmington and Myrtle Beach. Oh. Yeah.
An hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. And the airport there is like 3 minutes from my house.
Oh, wow,
and
dude.
the airport here is 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah. It's 7 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
From my house to my airplane is 7 minutes. There you go. Yeah.
So I think we got our answer there.
We do, yeah. We should.
How about you? I mean, what are y'all thinking? Where are we going?
For us, as a business, we have lots of plans, a lot of strategies, a lot of programs coming out. We're getting ready to go into some new verticals, but we talk about this all the time. And I joke with Charles about theater and plays and stuff. But we really want to figure out what can we do locally that can be something huge. And we haven't really hit on anything that's really, I shouldn't use the word exciting, but interesting to us.
Right.
Is that right?
Right. You haven't found the right impact.
Yeah, we don't know. We're still looking. Because I've been to quite a few, when I was based out of downtown office, I've been to quite a few meetings, with government entities.
Right.
That's not my cup of tea. It's not my speed. My brain doesn't work when I'm sitting in that group, that environment, because everything is so slow.
Right.
So I got to be in a different environment, different group of people, that something will come up, some idea will come up, and then we can work on it.
Yeah, and I mean, getting the right people around the table for that. So I mean, that's something that I saw actually the Chamber's doing something with CEOs to get people together, and then
is that the CEO meeting coming up?
Yeah. So and that's one thing, but also just getting creative voices around the table. I mean,
so were you business person of the year for this year?
No, that was before COVID, 2019.
Oh,
yeah. Back when everything was easy.
The old days.
Back in the good old days. I had a conference call the other day, and it was like, why are we doing a conference call? If anything good came from COVID is we have Zoom instead of conference calls. I don't like Zoom instead of meetings, but I do like Zoom instead of conference calls because everybody was talking over each other. It was like, please say your name, David.
Right.
And then it's just like, what are we
it's been
doing?
Forever since I've been on.
I haven't done this since way back in 2019.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's funny.
That's true.
Cool.
Occasionally when we're on the IRS calls, it's like that. It's formatted. Like
Yeah.
Anyway.
I could imagine.
Yeah. Even they're moving to Teams now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Well, I appreciate Aggie and what you've done here in Rock Hill and you guys as well. I mean, it is a special place, and I'm excited as what Williams and Fudge has been able to do and what we're continuing to be able to do. And I just encourage everybody. I mean, looking on that wall behind you, there's a lot of really neat people that have done a lot of really neat things, and I think we're just getting started. So, but thank you guys. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for all you do, and I look forward to hearing your next guest.
Let's go flying.
Appreciate
Good
it.
stuff. Let's do it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining this episode of the Bandit Room. Stick around next week and see what we talk about.
The Bandit Room is a production of Span Enterprises, located in sunny Rock Hill, South Carolina. We've been developing, supporting, and growing successful IRS e-filing and business management solutions since 2010. Go to spanenterprises.com now to learn more. The views and opinions expressed in the Bandit Room are those of the guests, and do not necessarily reflect or state the opinions of Span Enterprises. No information should be considered as tax, legal, or other professional advice.